Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video we're going through is the Loyalty Chest Box 5. So Loyalty Chest 5 is the newest box we're gonna have. Maybe in the future we have 6, 7, 8. Then I'll go make the guide for it. But for this video it's specifically for Loyalty Chest 5, and then I'll separate into Rezo 2, Rezo 4, Rezo 6, and also their Divinate priority. So I'll explain through their Rezo effect, and I'll give you my own suggestion in terms of how high the priority you should actually get for. Alright, so when you have the Loyalty Chest box, then if you want to pick the Rezo, you must have the Esper first. So we don't have R0 choice here, it's instantly at R2. So for Tangxian R2 effect here, I would say no. It's not like it's bad, it's just that in terms of Rezo value in the long term, the R2 effect here isn't going to give you a lot of value just because of the 20% chance of pursuit. It's not worth it, so I would say no, just skip it. Then for Sienna, R2 effect will make her attack up and speed up extend to 3 turns. So I would say it's not bad, but overall I would still say no. It's like for majority of the player, I would believe that getting the effect of Sienna S3, the 3 turn here doesn't really change too much for them. But at the long run, maybe like in PvE, in Falsetto Fantasy, this kind of cases that is extending duration, then the 3 turns might come in handy. But we have something like Lu Shang now, or the other thing that can keep reducing Sienna's skill cooldown, so I don't think it's really that doesn't that matter. Then for Yin Chuan, R2 effect here definitely is the best because of the R2 effect makes his doggy able to keep assisting. Is one of the most important Rezo in PvE, and especially for Yin Chuan as well. Then for Gabriel here, R2 effect make every speed increase gains extra damage. So overall I would say it's not bad, like the damage is pretty good if you're using Gabriel, but overall when you're using Gabriel you only want for her immunity. Her damage doesn't really shine too much, but I would say it's not bad because of the add-ons, right? Then for Li Ling here, upon a crit, alter cooldown reduced by one turn, which means every time he crits, then his S3 will cooldown reduce. I would say it's not bad because if you use Li Ling as your Calamity Tower, especially those players who haven't cleared their Calamity Tower yet, the S2 crits and then let your S3 able to reset the cooldown instantly is pretty good, and it actually saves a lot turn, especially in Calamity Tower. But other than Calamity Tower, this Rezo doesn't bring in any value at all. So but overall, if you have to compare with other Rezo effect here, I would say it's still a not bad effect. Okay, then for Sienna, Clara here, as R2 effect, immunity extend to 2 turn is definitely one of the best, because usually her S3 here will only grants immunity by 1 turn, and immunity 1 turn and 2 turns is actually a big difference. Unlike the other buff like from Sienna 2 turns to 3 turns, you get immunity from 1 turn to 2 turns. It's actually a big changes. Like without R2 effect, right, you might get stunned from Champagne. Then you might actually, before your Clara rotate the skill again, your immunity might already wear off. But 2 turns actually make a lot more stable and a lot more easier as well. So definitely one of the best value, especially in PvP. PvE wise, not really much changes. PvP is more important for Clara. Then for Brewster here, R2 definitely the best because you make Brewster able to have the bullet at the start of the combat. Definitely one of the best Rezo for Brewster. And then for Ife, I would say the best as well. Because if you want to use Ife in Memory Reef, if you don't have a very solid Memory Reef yet, and if you have an R2 Ife, then you can actually use Ife team to solo the Memory Reef by herself, because when you have the R2 effect, then you are able to instantly apply all the poison effect on that target. So if you build a poison team, everyone is on poison, if you just throw one S3, then it did not need all the poison effect. So it's a very strong effect, especially for Ife, and Ife is just need the R2 effect. Then the last one for Rezo 2 is gonna be Ollie. So Ollie here, his passive effect that grants you immunity and recovery from 1 turn extend to 2 turns. So I would say it's a not bad, not until the best, because actually when you make Ollie in a PvP team, 1 turn of immunity is actually enough. 2 turns makes it a lot more solid, but majority of the cases you don't really need the 2 turn effect. But overall I would say it's a not bad effect, but not until the best value. Like if I have to chase for the Rezo, I would say these 4 Esper have the highest value, and then these 3, then only these 2. Now let's take a look at the R4 effect. Alright, so if you are a player that already have R3 Tangshan or R3 Esper here, right, then when you get this loyalty box, it will grant you until R4 effect. So this part here will tell you which Esper Rezo is more worth for their R4 effect. So for the R4 effect for Tangshan here, after casting a non-basic ability, the next basic ability damage plus 30%. Overall, it's a not bad effect. It's like increasing the damage is a pretty good effect, but it's not a main case for Tangshan as well. I would say it's not bad or no, but let me go through the other Esper and see if there's any other changes. Then for Sienna, if an ability on cooldown, speed plus 20. So this is pretty good. Overall, it makes your rotation a lot more faster. It's a not bad effect. Doesn't change too much, but it's some basic add-on. Okay, then for Gabrielle Alpha effect here, when she attacks, you consume a certain percentage of her HP and then deal extra true damage. Overall, this is actually a not bad effect, but judging when you are actually going for R4 now, I would say her R4 priority isn't that high because like extra speed does extra damage from the R2 effect is pretty good. Like, right, you don't consume anything and you get some extra effect. You're gonna build her speedy anyway, so it's a bonus effect. But for R4 effect here, she have to consume a certain percentage HP, then only deal a certain amount of true damage. So overall, it's like you are reducing something to gain something. So in terms of the value wise, R4, I would say Gabrielle R4 doesn't really make too much of a bonus here, so I would say R4 effect is a no here. Then for Yunchuan R4 effect here, when an elemental advantage damage plus 15%, it's a good effect, but it only works in Calamity because if you are fighting in boss stages, they are all shimmer, so you won't get affected by this R4 effect, right? So this elemental advantage situation is more into Calamity. Like if you're using Yunchuan here for your Calamity Tower, then the R4 effect here will help. But other than Calamity Tower, you don't really have an advantage situation. So overall for R4 effect, I would say no. But if you are really chasing for the R5 stats boost, then I would say get Yunchuan, right? Then for Clara here, R4 effect grants a base defense of 20% to all allies who have shield. This is actually a very, very good value. Why? Because if you're putting Clara, like let's say other Esper, like let's say Fushi, right, or let's say Liam in a team that you are using Clara as your AP pusher and healer, and then the other Esper that is a defense skilling one will actually get benefit by Clara because that 20% base defense increase will help you to increase their DPS output. So overall, if we in terms of R4 effect, this actually will increase your DPS or maybe your tankiness. So I would say it's a very good value, especially you only need your Esper to have shield, then you can already apply the effect for free. Then for Brewster here, R4 effect, when this Esper is not attacking on their own turn, damage plus 15. Definitely one of the best value and even higher than Clara. Because usually Brewster you're using, right, you're mostly using Brewster for his damage outside of his turn, which means every time he uses his bullet to shoot out will increase the 15% damage, so his S1 will be very, very pain. So one of the best value, I would say maybe is the best for R4. Then for Liling here, R4 effect heals upon killing an enemy. It doesn't really matter because I don't think your Liling can actually kill people. Maybe in Calamity Tower, but majority cases that effect won't really shine. Okay, then for Ife here, 20% chance of ignoring resist one attack. I would say no, doesn't really matter too much. Like, it's a bonus effect, but I don't really think it will matter too much. Like, I would say just say no. Then for Ollie, damage taken minus 20% before taking the first turn in combat. I would say not bad. If you're using Ollie in PvP content like me, I'm using Ollie plus Mavis team, then the Ollie R4 effect passive will actually come in handy because your Ollie won't die that easily, so your Ollie might have the chance to apply the passive immunity on Mavis. Because if you die first, then Mavis okay, so let's say you die, you go into Graveless mode, and then then someone kill your Mavis. It will trigger Ollie passive, but it won't get the immunity buff from your Ollie because your Ollie is in Graveless mode. But if you actually survive and then your team, at least Mavis is going to die, then Ollie will trigger his passive and then also apply the invincibility. So this damage taken reduced 20% might actually make your Ollie survive and then apply the immunity on Mavis when Mavis is going to die. So I would say it's a not bad effect, but overall it's not going to change too much, but the value is pretty good. Then now let's take a look at R6. Okay, so R6 effect here for Tangxian, the number of target of taking the splash damage increased to 4, which means every time your S1 now is actually an AoE damage instead of maybe a 1 hit to 3 hit target thing, right? So it will make your S1 into an AoE thing. It's a pretty good skill. It's overall it only benefit in Calamity Tower, so I would say it's not bad overall. If you really have to pick someone from your R6 from your remaining choice, then I would say R6 Tangxian is pretty good, just that it's more only for Calamity Tower other than the other situation. Then for Sienna here, the R6 effect here will make her S3 stun extend to 2 turns. Overall, I would still say not bad. It would be good in Calamity Tower, like the extend the stun, so you don't have to worry too much of the enemy getting that action. In PvP is actually annoying because of the 2 turn, but most cases, in our current meta, people are using immunity, people are using dispel, so it doesn't really matter your stun is 2 turn or not, because you can't even land the stun at all. So overall I would say not bad, not until the best, but the value is pretty good. Then for Yunchuan R6 effect here, that's definitely instantly a no, because Yunchuan R6 effect makes him have a chance to block the damage. So in majority of the cases, you don't really need the, okay, maybe I have to say not bad, because in majority of the cases like PvP, you're not going to use him. PvE wise, most of the time your Yunchuan doesn't really need the effect, but sometimes it might come in handy, because if your Yunchuan isn't that tanky, and then if you're scared your Yunchuan actually died to the Falsetto Fantasy boss, the block will come in to save you, which with a 30% chance, 15% with a third eye seal, 15%, so 30% chance to block. It's a pretty high survival rate, but overall not really the best, but I would say it's not bad. Oh, especially if you are using meta Yunchuan, if you want to increase some extra bonus stats, Yunchuan Rezo here is actually pretty good. Right, if considering that, he's actually the best, but overall the effect wise, it's not really that good. Then for Gabriel wise, R6 effect I would say it's not bad as well, because immunity extend to 3 turns is actually a pretty big deal. Like 2 turn immunity and 3 turn immunity is actually a pretty big deal, so I would say her value is actually not bad. Then for Li Ling R6 effect here, every punches from the S3 here absorb the target AP. Overall I would say no, because even in Calamity the AP absorb doesn't really come in handy as well. I don't see a major changes, so I would say no. Then for Ife here, her S1 here instantly apply the poison effect on the target for 1 turn. Overall I would say it's a no. Like if you're using Ife, you're usually using in Memory Reef, and the S1 doesn't come in to help you as well. The effect doesn't come in to help you as well. Only one situation you want to R6 or Ife is getting her name card. Other than that, you don't really want to R6 or Ife at all, if you don't have the other Esper who have the best slot. Okay, Brewster R6 effect, definitely the best, because extra damage from the R6 effect, and then he will, instead of shooting 1 bullet, he will shoot 2 bullets, so it's a splash damage. It's a very good skill, especially if you're using a Brewster in Dark Starlord, or maybe in APAP, the increased damage will come in handy as well. So it's definitely the best reso you can get from this box. Then for Clara here, R6 effect, healing time changed to 3 times instead of 2 times. So personally, alright, I really like this effect. Maybe you might think that it's not really a big deal, like the healing proc from 2 turns increased to 3 turns. So what is the big deal, right? What is the changes? So if you're using Desolate Land, so this Clara here will have a 1 more tick of dispelling. So 1 more tick of dispelling in Desolate Land means you take off the desert boss's debuff faster. It's a bit RNG, but it's a faster, which means originally you can dispel 2 things, it becomes dispel 3 things. So also extra free heal as well. So overall I really like Clara, because if I use Clara, it's usually because I want to dispel. It's usually I want to use in Dark Starlord for AP push, also dispelling. So the R6 effect here increased the dispel to 2 turn, from 1 turn to 3 turn. Is actually a big deal for me, because most of the cases my my Desolate Land, I can't get a multiplier by 18. Maybe it's only left 1 or 2 debuff on one of the Esper. So Clara increasing the chance of dispelling it is actually very strong. Then for Ollie R6 effect, personally I would say it's the best as well. Maybe you don't like it, but I really like the effect. Especially if I'm playing in PvP, I'm using Ollie, and maybe it's team fighting in certain beatbout team and certain triple threats team as well. I usually pair Ollie and Mavis in one team, and if my Ollie survive and my Ollie keep casting skill like S1 for free, maybe triggering Avatara, maybe I trigger Pursuit, all those stuff. Every time I crit, I reduce my cooldown, which means I actually refresh my cooldown a lot more faster. But this is more towards PvP. In PvE, this is 0 users. In PvP, this is like totally useless. But in PvP, I think the passive actually come in very handy. It help you refresh your passive very fast. So personally, I would say this is the best value for R6 as well. Alright, this is just my own thought, and now let's take a look at the Divinate effect. Alright, to be honest, the Divinate effect here, right, it really depends on your own usage. Right? Overall, their Divinate, of course, is going to be a major boost for them, right? But let's see. Tangshan here increased his S1 damage. Overall, it's actually a very good Divinate effect. But based on his usage, I would say his Divinate effect is not good at all. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't even use you. Why am I going to get a Divinate for increased damage, right? Unless you are getting it from beginner and then you are still using Tangshan or Liling, then just equip it on them if you are using them. Then for Sienna here, I would say it's the best value because before you cast your S3, you have a 100% chance of dispelling one buff first. And Sienna have AP down and also stun. So if enemy have immunity, the Divinate here will help you dispelling them. It's RNG dispelling like which buff, right? But it might have a chance to dispel the enemy immunity, and you're able to AP down them and stun them. So this is a very good effect, especially in PvP. It's a very good value. Then for Yunchuan here, it really depends on your usage, right? Like if you are not using Yunchuan with a Fushi and Blah team, or with like a lame Chuyao, because if you use Yunchuan and he get an attack up at the start of the turn, then it will mess up the whole rotation, because maybe like Liam or Chuyao, their buff will apply on the other apply on Yunchuan instead of Embla, something like this. So if you don't care about that, his Divinate is actually not bad. But if you care about that, I would say his Divinate is actually no. Depends on you. Then for Gabriel here, I would say it's the best because in PvP, especially in rival rune content, at the start of the combat, you instantly get 1 turn of immunity. Is very important, especially in beat bout, triple threats, and knockout. If you have immunity at the start of the combat, you can't get sleep by Hilda. You might have a chance to resist Tolan's S3 0 hour. So the immunity at the start of the combat is a very strong effect. So definitely the best effect. Okay, then for Liling here, his Divinate effect is actually something like it's something like what's that called? Yunchuan's one, but Yunchuan's gets the attack up at the start of the combat, while Liling's one get attack up when he casts S3. So is it a good effect? Yes, but based on the usage, I would say no, because I don't really use 2 of them in any kind of content. But if you really want me to use Divinate, his one is increase his damage, this one increase attack up, so it really depends on situation. But overall, I would say both of them is like a no. Then for Clara Divinate, I would say it's not bad, because after you cast your S1 or cast your S3, you have a chance to dispel 1 debuff from the ally who have the lowest HP percentage, which means the one who is going to die soon will have the chance to get dispel 1 debuff. So as I said, I use Clara in Dislyte Land a lot. So I really like Clara's dispel effect, and her Divinate will make the dispelling a little bit more smoother, so I would say it's not bad. Then for Brewster here, definitely the best, because when you have the bullet stack, the reload attack, then your final damage, your S1 final damage increase, which is your main DPS output for your Brewster. So definitely the best Divinate from this box as well. Then for Ollie Divinate here, before you cast your S3, then you get attack up buff. So in PvE, PvP it doesn't matter, but in PvE it's actually it actually matter, like maybe best or not bad. If you're using speed running, always getting attack up will actually come in handy, because sometimes you really need the attack up to increase your attack stats, and then it might actually one-shot Chronos. Alright, it depends on, are you at the speed run game path already or not. If you are, then I would say it's the best. But overall, I would say it's not bad, because in PvP it doesn't really, the attack up doesn't really come in too much of the value. Okay, then for Ife one, I would say no, because if Ife HP is above 70%, 100% chance of inflicting poison for 1 turn before she casts her S2. Overall, it doesn't really matter. Like Ife having the Divinate effect or not having the Divinate effect, don't change the option at all. Right, so basically that's all for this video. This is the one that for Loyalty Chest 5, Rezo 2, 4, 6 and the Divinate. Hope this video actually help you guys out who is still considering which Rezo you're going for. Basically, in the end of the day, it really depends on your own usage and which Esper you like, right? Maybe you don't like the other Esper I recommend at the best. Maybe you like the Ife a lot and then you want to get her name card, then go for it. In the end of the day, it's your choice, it's your own Dislyte journey. I'm just here to giving my own suggestion and based on my own usage, right? Hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is Jen MP, Yaki Shiba Tails, Kemi, thank you so much for your support. And for the supporter or patron of Artiar, which is Louis Schneider, Agni, Code Wilderness, Wild Tamer, Ziggy, Kamaruki, Sunworks, Rimu, Chawny, Antonio Winterspoon, Marlene Williams, Uncle Chat, Eric Mendes, Ium Cragran, Riku Fred X Iris, Calamity, Rocco Stenzions, thank you so much for your support. Special thanks for the direct support on the live stream super chat for the latest tag. Thank you so much for Code Wilderness, Calamity, Agni, Love Fatima, Fatima Little Underwear, Bloods, Riku Fred, Chawny. Thank you so much for your support.